Welcome to the Indie Corner. We're talking about all things independent comics, specifically the deadliest high school comic book in the 80s, Rick Remender's Deadly Class. I'm Mikey.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Demoan.
And today, people are back at it again with episode 8 of the Deadly Class podcast, covering volume 8 of Deadly Class, titled Never Go Back, which we're going to be covering issues 36 to 39. And people, Demoan, Rebecca, we're continuing. It's good. After a little bit of a break, trying to figure out what time to do this. But
hiatus goes hard.
It does.
Just wait till the next episode where we gotta wait for Mikey to get the book.
That's true. But yeah, people, we're gonna volume 8, Deadly Class. Excited. I hope you're all excited, Demoan and Rebecca. And just a little recap, just to talk about what happened last volume. But pretty much there was the whole big old fight between Victor and Marcus and the Yakuza, and Syfy had her own issues, and it was a lot of stuff happening. It was a lot of stuff. But we left off with Petra dying, which was kind of crazy, and Marcus and Maria and Zanzele and Helmet and Tashawi, they were all in, I think, Tashawi's grandparents, their reservation where they're at. That's pretty much the last time we saw them, I think. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So, all right, Rebecca, I believe you have issue number 36. Let's talk about 36.
Yeah, I like this cover. I like the use of color in this. I like the bones underneath Marcus.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty a nod to that's what the trades look like, pretty much. The trades pretty much have an image on top, and below it's all bones and skeletons and whatever underlying meaning there is underneath for the whole book, for the whole volume. Man, this cover is great. Well, we're gonna talk about the whole issue, but this cover is pretty much a little teaser of how crazy this issue is. So, yeah.
All right. So if we want to get into it, this issue is a weird one. Spoiler alert, Marcus is having a trip, so I recommend reading this issue for yourself. But anyway, we open on Marcus running with an arrow pointing him that says everyone he loves dies. We see a nuke go off behind him, and he turns into a rat boy and comes across a giant skull and a pit of snakes who look like his former classmates. All of this is pathologizing who Marcus is and what he's become since going to King's. He tries to fight off the snakes, but as he makes it out of the pit, he turns into a snake person himself. Marcus pulls at a snake skin, but then is interrupted by a skeleton hand that turns into Billy. Billy tells him that the faster he runs, the more dust he inhales, and that you can't climb the ladder unless you're a sociopath, because the ladder's made of humans. He also says it's too late for him, so it's up to Marcus not to let them win. Then Willie and a bunch of Marcus's other dead friends show up at a funeral, seemingly for Billy. Marcus laments that everyone's dead and left him there. The dead group tell him he has two choices: come with them or get yourself back on track. Willie also points out Marcus has been so busy surviving, he's never made a choice for himself, and that he owes it to the ones who didn't make it out of King's to start deciding. Just then, a grandfather clock rings and all the dead friends start to return to the great beyond or wherever they're going through an empty coffin. Marcus begs Willie to let him come with them and tells Willie that he loves him. In response, Willie says, "Then do what I can't," and then Maria's arm pulls him back, telling Marcus that he doesn't have to do it alone. Maria wants to run away somewhere and have a normal life with Marcus. He thinks she's his only reason to live, but mentions that when you have to tell yourself you love someone over and over, well, you can read in between the lines there. Then he thinks that she's the polar opposite of Saya, thinking that Saya was like a torrent of chaos. He tells Maria he doesn't know what he wants. Suddenly, Helma arises from the ground, riding a 3-headed goat, and yells what Marcus needs is someone to judge him the way he judges else, especially how he judged Petra. Then Helma slashes Maria with an axe. Maria bleeds out and asks why Marcus loves her, and he says it's because she's everything he's not.
It's so funny. Like I just like out of nowhere just seeing Helmet. Like, well, first off, like Wes Craig. I don't know who's. I think it's who's the colorist on this. Always forget. Jordan Boyd. But like the fact that like he gets a lot more detailed with the colors, so it's a lot more like kind of like D&D inspired. Like because Helmet's a huge D&D fan, so I love that so much. But yeah,
I was thinking this panel would be a good metal cover.
It would absolutely be.
It could be either. I think it could be either or. To be honest with you. But yeah, I also like just real quick, Rebecca, just to add on to what you're talking about. But like each time a person is introduced, they, especially I think from here on out. I don't know if it happened with Maria. Oh yeah, but there's like a simple like cliff note next to them. So like how Marcus had one. Like Maria's is pretty much like simple home love. Helmet's pretty much, I think it says, had true love, lost it. So it's kind of like a brief kind of recap on like who they are as an individual, what we went through so far in this story. So I like that a lot.
Yeah. So moving on from that real quick.
Yeah.
So Zinzelle appears as an angel from above and tells Marcus he wasted his time with Maria worrying and that he should let her go as she deserves better. Zinzelle takes Maria's body, then switches personalities to a demon and says Maria will go to hell where she belongs. Marcus runs after her only to turn into a snake again as he collapses.
Which is personality, you say, huh? Yeah.
You're still sticking with that theory?
That sounds like something I said like last time we were talking about Zinzelle, and you were like, oh no, I'm not sure.
I am not sure. I still don't know. But
right.
Cut to Marcus waking up in his bed as a child. He goes downstairs to see his mom and dad when Reagan appears at the front door like a sitcom guest star.
That shit was hilarious. It's so funny.
It really was. Oh god. I really do love the whole 1950-ish animation style, like almost Jetsons-esque.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do like that a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
The way the colors are here, it feels like it was meant to be very cozy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, his parents follow Reagan out the front door as Marcus begs them not to go. But it's too late. Switch to Master Lin appearing. He tells Marcus his goal to kill Reagan was too ambitious, and that led to him giving up before he even started. He also says that Marcus was so desperate for a father figure that he would listen to anyone, and asks him what he's going to do now to change the world. Then Toshawi shows up. I don't know how to describe this character. I know there's like a name for this type of character, but I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to say he shows up as a gremlin on a skateboard. In the desert, it says Marcus shouldn't wander off while everyone's tripping.
You're tripping on peyote, by the way. Just so you know.
What?
You're tripping on peyote. It's like a plant that grows in like the desert. That it's used in like native cultures, more like ayahuasca.
Made into a stew usually. I remember now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or not a stew, a tea.
So as they're walking back to camp, Marcus sees a snake out of nowhere and grabs it and snaps its spine, I guess. Either way, he kills the snake. Back at the campfire, the real Maria worries, saying she saw him dead in a vision. And Helmet chimes in that he also saw Marcus dead in his vision.
He seemed disappointed to come back to a living Marcus.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But Marcus said he had some realizations, and most importantly that he loves Maria. Then he cries uncontrollably, saying that they only have one option. They have to play by their rules and go back to King's Dominion. And that's the end of the issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny because like when he grabs the snake and kills it, I'm just like, oh shit, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for something.
I wonder what snakes represent in this.
Yeah, well, Demoan, you were talking, so I cut you off. But what are your thoughts, bro?
Oh, I was just gonna say how I like this last panel, but I also I love the snake bit. I love when he picked up the snake. He grabbed it in like one of the worst ways. It so easily could have come back to bite him. And I think that just shows his whole style of how he's going to go about everything. I think that even that is representative of Marcus rather than just going for like right behind the head, which you're supposed to do.
Exactly. He goes right for the body, like a man.
He gave the snake a fighting chance. That's honor, I think.
Sure.
Are we considering that maybe Marcus is also just a little bit stupid?
Shit.
Oh yeah, he is.
That one too. Oh. But no, yeah, they're headed back to Kings now, and I'm very well. We're gonna get there in this issue.
Yeah,
Or
we're
next
gonna
issue.
get there.
Yeah, this issue is very introspective, and I feel like there were some new things that we learned about Marcus, but I feel like especially in the first half, it was kind of just repeating stuff we already knew.
We already knew. Yeah. I love this issue just because, like, because when you go from issue 35 from last volume to this, you don't know what happened. I was so confused. I was like, wait, what's happening here? And that's kind of the point. Like, you're like, all will be revealed until you read towards the end of what's going on. Like, you don't know he's actually tripping until, because I thought I missed something.
I mean, I didn't think he was actually turning into a rat in the comics.
That's true. but I was like, how did we get from here? How did we get from where we left off to here? But then when you read towards the end, like, it's revealed that he's tripping on peyote on the reservation. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you're right. It's very introspective, and like, it's very like each, like, we were talking about this off camera before we started, but like, I love. Okay, the way, obviously, the way Remender's writing it, but also, like, I feel like Wes Craig, again, is doing what he does best, and it's just getting so creative with the panel work and the composition to get you in, like, the mindset of, like, how Marcus is tripping throughout the entirety of this issue, and it does it without, and it does it in a way where it's easy to follow, and you don't get confused, because this. If it shows how much of a master storyteller Wes Craig is, because you could easily get lost into the paneling to point where it gets confusing to the reader. So I love that. I love that a lot in this. Most, like what Rebecca says, mostly a recap of, like, what we know of Marcus so far, but then we get into more in depth of Marcus as a person in the second half of the trip. Again, love the little cliff notes that it is noticed. If you notice, it's for each character that's alive, right? So like Willie didn't get one, Billy didn't get one, Petra and Lex didn't get one when they showed up, in the funeral scene. But the little cliff notes, like, okay, yeah, this is what this character is about, and this is what happens to them so far. Yeah, I love the. Okay, I'm gonna put a question real quick. Do you really think, though, that Marcus is, like, genuinely, like, in love with Maria, or is he just, like, lying?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say the most interesting thing in this issue for me is that he says, like, what does it mean if you have to keep telling yourself that you love someone? And then at the end of this, he tells Maria that he loves her. Uh-huh. So I'm thinking in my mind, like, is that part of, like, playing the game in a way?
Exactly.
Like, is that how he really feels or not?
Embracing snakehood.
I don't really know at this point. I think he does care about her. I think if she was dead, he would say that he cared.
That's true, yeah.
Definitely that one.
But as it is, I don't know right now what he's really feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the very least, he definitely doesn't love Maria in the way she wants to be loved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does care, but, like, in a way, like, well, he does say that, like, he doesn't truly know what he wants. So, like, how would you really know that you want Maria if you don't know what you want? It's interesting. I also do want to also mention the fact that I do love the fact that when Rebecca covered it, that Willie, like, everyone who's dead, like, when Willie acknowledges that, yeah, like, Marcus has actually really never made a choice for himself. He's done from what has been happening from the beginning of Deadly Class till now is mostly just Marcus just doing this just for survival, like, going into King so that he ends up so the cops can come after him, and also all other stuff with Fuckface and with Chico. Like, every decision he has made, he's done pretty much on instinct, and he hasn't generally, like, actually decided to actually make a genuine choice to benefit himself. I think is very interesting, and, like, I kind of really didn't notice it, because, like, it's really interesting that, like, Remender adds on to that, makes that point. I love that a lot. Yeah, those issues is great. It's just really good. It's very creative, very, obviously Marcus centric, so getting more into, like, the Marcus character and his flaws and what journey he's gone through so far. And yeah, it's really good. And again, the artwork is killer. It is very creative, very stylistic for certain parts. Like, again, with the I love the more cartoony style with his parents and Reagan showing up. I think is one of my favorite parts of the book.
Mhm.
And it's just it's amazing. I could pick apart the artwork just in this issue like crazy, but I don't want to like stretch this too far because it's so good. Like that one panel, I don't have it, but that one panel where it's Marcus as a child going down the stairs, but then adult Marcus is in the shadow. Like I love that.
Well, I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah, I'm just going through it again real quick, but it's so good. Like it's so cool. Yeah, just the helmet scene is awesome. But like the helmet scene is very good, but also like the way, like even the Zenzele stuff when Zenzele shows up as an angel, they use like kind of hatching in a way to make it look kind of like biblical in a way, like an old like biblical like drawing or painting like in the Bible, because like you see a lot of hatching and stuff like that in like biblical drawings that are in biblical illustrations. So I love that. And again, I'm right that she has daddy, but y'all are just like, hey.
I'm not
I mean, she's not healthy for sure.
But yeah, no. Overall, this issue is phenomenal. I love it a lot. And the moral of the story is, kids, don't go on a spirit walk on peyote unless you're really mentally prepared to do it, because Marcus wasn't.
I don't think anyone really is.
Yeah. But I do like the fact that like they're going on a peyote. They're on a reservation, so might as well just go on a peyote spirit walk. That's the culture right there. Okay. Yeah. Any more other thoughts on issue 36? We'll move on.
I'm good.
All right, people. So we're gonna be moving on to issue number 37. And as you can guess from the cover, this is a Syfy focused issue. But thoughts on the cover so far, people?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I just read her shirt. Sorry.
Sure.
I was gonna say, this cover is awesome. I love all the detail. I also like her like I don't know if it's supposed to be like skin or blood. I'm gonna just say it's like skin and how she's like shedding it to reveal the tattoos. It's awesome.
I didn't even notice that. Actually, hold on. Let me go to the gallery real quick, because I didn't even notice that.
I guess it is shedding. I assumed it was blood when I first saw it, but I also love the tattoo work coming down her arms.
I also
Either
thought
way,
it was blood, but I like your idea better.
Yeah, I like that it's shedding.
I also like the fact that I don't know if it's engraved or if it's just like the reflection of the sword, but all the skeletons and stuff in the sword. I think it's so cool. But yeah, I just want to just to make a note, but that like this was like around the time when I saw this cover a lot in comic book stores, like in single issues, because like I guess this is around the time where when I started reading Deadly Class, they were at this issue, so 37. So like I saw this cover a lot when I started going to the swap a lot back in college. It's a great cover. I love it a lot. But yeah, folks. So yeah, we're gonna be moving on to 37. So this issue pretty much starts off. We're back in Japan. So we're back in Japan with the Kuroki, and we obviously see Saya's megalomaniac brother Kenji. Pretty much, with the rest of the Kuroki, his Kuroki goons, and pretty much as we learned from last issue, where we left off with Saya, it was revealed that Kenji murdered Saya, their mother, and Saya was holding her in her arms. It was a wild moment. But yeah, Kenji's pretty much being very boastful, very bashful, being like, "Yeah, guys, we're gonna go to the club and we're gonna enjoy our spoils," which we pretty much took over all of Japan at this point. We're gonna go to the club, get drunk, and deal with some prostitutes. It's gonna be lit. And at the same time, we get introduced to one of their servers, or their, I was gonna say bottom bitch, but I don't know if I want to say it like that. But we introduced to one of the servers who they're calling pretty much they're calling him like a mutt or a dog. But the server is revealed to be the boy we hate so much, Quan.
He got such a high-ranking position. I didn't expect him to get that.
I didn't realize this, but I mean, it's gonna be revealed later in the issue. But I forgot that Quan was like knocked out and like taken by the Kuroki. I missed that.
Well, in fairness, after Quan betrayed them for the 4th time, I simply didn't care about it.
That's true.
I feel like we also got to mention here that he's missing some fingers at this point.
It's true.
That is true. I thought that's the thing too. I don't remember him him missing fingers is a story device for this issue, but like I also remember Tashawi getting his fingers cut off too. But Quan is pretty much is referred to as their sake bitch. Bringing all the sake to all the drunk Kuroki members, and it's noted that every time he messes up, that he loses a finger. And Kenny said to the point where if they run out of fingers, they're gonna cut off his dick, and that's not gonna be fun. But again, we hate Quan, so we don't care. But Kenji is talking to one of his goons, about, hey, we gotta make sure that we deal with Saya, and the fact that he is revealed to have, that now that she's disgraced from kings and all that stuff, that he's gonna pretty much make an example of her. So he's gonna go down. He gives the goon the key. Head down to the cellar, and he also gives the goon the permission to drink some sake and do whatever he wants with her before, making an example of her. Quan hears that, ends up following the guy, pushes him down the stairs, which ends up, having him snap his neck, killing him. And now Quan is face to face with Saya, and the last time they were face to face, he ended up shooting her off of a building. So that's not going to be fun. But pretty much, Saya, he takes the key from the goon, and he ends up unshackling Saya, and he's like, hey, your brother's gonna kill you, you have to get out of here. And Saya, literally the first thing she does, unshackle, is try to strangle him, but she's too weak to even do anything. She can barely even walk. And he reveals that, hey, like, my family has a freighter that's leaving for San Francisco tonight, and that they arranged a cargo thingy that's filled with like food and resources to last them the whole trip. But Saya specifically wants to get her sword because obviously it's her father's sword. We know that her father's sword is very important to her. But Kenji has it, and he doesn't take it off of him. So now they have to.
Isn't the sword also specifically like a symbol of leadership for the Kuroki?
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much like, whoever has a sword that is like the boss, not me. But she pretty much said, okay, we have to go find Kenji and go get it. They end up going back to the club. And Kenji they're just being, it's like they're drinking, talking about fucking women and shit. It's just stupid gang talk. But they end up going outside of the club, and pretty much is like, hey, like, he's saying, like, he talks to Sai about, hey, you're too weak to even go in there. You can't even like use the sword, for God's sake. And plus, if you're on safe body, they'll kill you. And he's like, oh no, why would I do that? You're gonna do it. And he's just like, I'm not really a fighter. I'm gonna get myself killed, but like, I'm more of a sneaker. Okay, then sneak around. Like, do what you do best, you fucking snake. And then he goes up to he goes through the back and is like, hey, like, I'm trying to get some alcohol. Kenji left his gun. I'm trying to give it to him. Okay, sake, bitch, go right ahead, but be quick. But he ends up having the idea. Oh, wait a minute, I can like do some. He goes to the bathroom, notices that there's an outfit that the servers and the prostitutes are wearing. Oh, I'm just gonna disguise myself as one of these server women. No one will ever notice. So he ends up going over towards them, and he gets mistaken as. And I think it's like his disguise works a little too well, where like a Kuroki goon is hitting on him and ends up actually making out with him to the point where it gets him close enough so that he can grab Kenji's sword, grab the sword that's between like Kenji's legs, and then right as he's about to do that, he gets Kenji notices right away because again Quan isn't that slick, and Kenji headbutts the guy that made out with him, and then takes the sword and immediately out of like instinct slashes Kenji in the face, and then he immediately said he's like, okay, Quan is being a pile of shit. We gotta go after him, try to kill him. Quan bolts out. It is escaping gunshots. He grabs Saya, puts her onto the bike, and then they drive out. And then while they're being chased by the Kuroki, Saya's giving him instruction, okay, like, because she knows bikes better than he does. And they pretty much go on a wild goose chase. Saya is, directing them on like where to go, how to angle, what routes to take, and at the same time she is slashing some Kuroki with her sword. And I don't have this page here, but Demoan, we're talking about off camera, the fact that like while this is happening, I'll full screen you for a second, Demoan. But yeah, there's really
let me see if I can.
Yeah, there's a really awesome page where like right on the left side where it's literally like them getting chased, but at the same time, like Wes Craig draws over the panels in white of like their reactions of like how and what's going on and like in that moment. I think it's really well done. All right, Demoan, you're good.
I think this honestly was probably my favorite panel in this issue. Honest, like if I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's like beautiful.
But right when they're cornered, Saya tells Quan to like pull up onto the pull up off the bridge, which he doesn't want to because he thinks they're gonna die, and he ends up driving the motorcycle off the bridge. They end up landing perfectly, and yeah, they end up managing to go onto the freighter and escaping Kenji. And while this is happening, Quan pretty much is like, okay, like Saya's asking Layla, what's your plan? Like, what are you trying to do? It's like, yeah, like he knows that the fact that he can't go back to Kings because he betrayed his best friends and all that. And even though all the stuff that's going on back there, even though he would want to help, he knows that he can't because he's has a target on his back from the Kuroki, and he's also a coward. So there's that. But
I hate Quan, but he was right not to want to go back.
Exactly. But also he talks about how like Kenji wanted Marcus alive to show Lin that you cheated. So Saya also can't go back to Kings because the fact that he that means that he cheated and he failed Master Lin with the final exam. So Lin's gonna have a target on her back if he found out she's alive. And the fact that, and it also explains how he got back to Japan in the first place, getting knocked out and taken away. But also is like while the ship is leaving, the ship's about to leave, but he knows he has to go their separate ways. And she asks him, "What you planning on doing?" Like, I'm gonna go back to Hanoi, which I assume is in Vietnam, and probably like start fresh. Let's start fresh. Get a patch of land, start a new life. And then he's asking her just a quick question, like, do you think that people can change, that people can do what I'm trying to do, like start with a clean slate? And he's like, yeah, some people. And then all you hear is like a shh sound. And then she said, but not for you. And it's revealed that Saya stabbed Quan in the gut. And he's just like, okay, yeah, now we're even. And then he kicks Quan off of the boat, and his body, he ends in the water, and his body sinks down slowly till we don't see him at all. And the ship ends up crossing across the ocean back to San Francisco. And that's how issue 37 ends. So that's on issue 37, people.
That's right. A burial at sea. Too good for him.
Only burial he deserves.
You think that someone's going to pull him back out in a future volume?
I don't. There's no way. There's no way that could happen. I'm sorry. This is like set in the real world. So like there's no way they're going to find his body.
So let me ask you this then. I'm pretty sure I know your answer. You're with Saya. You don't think he can be redeemed, or this redeemed him at all?
I don't know, because there are characters that are pieces of shit in this series that we've met so far that have been redeemed or have shown the potential to be redeemed. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing too. Like Quan was a snake. Quan was a coward. But he did care about his friends though. Like he genuinely did. Like that was the most normalcy he had at Kings, even though it was all the guys from Kenji's instruction. Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I don't want to see Quan redeemed. But at the same time, like I would not be surprised if like Remender thought about that before he ended up deciding to kill Quan in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have been upset if he had just fucked off and lived in a Korean village or something and never to be seen again.
Yeah.
But I also think that he absolutely wrote his own tale. He was a coward that bent to every will, and eventually someone killed him for it.
So let me ask one more question then. So in terms of redemption or like possible redemption, do you think what he's done is worse than like what Victor has done?
No, I don't think. I think Victor's definitely worse.
I think Victor's worse. Yeah.
Because Victor seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, Victor. Well, first off, Victor actually genuinely acts like he's willing to act at any turn, but also yeah, he also enjoys messing with Marcus and all of them, and he doesn't give a fuck who he kills to get to the top. Just that legacy preppy group that formed by Shabnam. They're all like that. So I mean, it's at the same time when we talk about last volume, when we saw Victor's backstory a little bit. I think it was last volume or the volume before, but like Victor isn't just like that just because he's a psychopath. Like there's a reason why he is the way he is. And obviously that's due to, you know, his father and all that, and the KGB, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this guy's just a coward.
He is. Because there are times where, like, even last volume, where, like, he genuinely could have turned it around. Like, it was an open opportunity, and he just still decided to.
I think the worst part is you could see it in his eyes every time. He was working toward the right, like the good thing to do, and then just broke.
I think, thinking about it now for the first time, it's interesting. In some ways, he's kind of a foil to Marcus, what he was saying last issue, how he feels like he's never been able to make a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you think about the circumstances with Quan, like, granted, I mean, listen, he shouldn't have been fucking around, but like, you know, he should have because he got that Yakuza girl pregnant, but again, like, I mean, he could have not done that.
It's true.
Well, granted,
that was the last choice he made. Everything else was just yes or no.
No, did they ever reveal that? Did we ever like find in the details of like, did he know that she was Yakuza, or did he know and did not care? Like, you know.
I don't know. I don't think it really matters that much.
Yeah, well, we'll have to remember during the interview, because that's also something that. But yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, there was potential to see him redeem, but like, I'm also just not surprised that he just gets murked off and that's it. You know? Yeah,
I mean, you don't deserve to die for being a coward, but like, you might get killed, and that just sucks.
Yeah, but I'm also just curious to see, because I don't think we see it in this volume at all, but like how like his friends are are dealing with, like, you know, him not being there, like, because they obviously they will never know. Who knows, maybe Saya, maybe I don't know if they'll ever know that he's alive or not, but I don't even know if they'll care.
I was gonna say, like, no one's asked any questions yet.
No one said that's not even a spoiler. No one has said throughout this entire volume of his friends about they've not mentioned Quan at all. So,
well, why would they? He betrayed them.
Yeah. So yeah, but other than that, though, this issue is also very good. Again, I love Saya. She's one of my favorite characters. So again, more Saya stuff is great. Again, I love the fact that like the show, what comes around goes around. He betrayed her. Now she gets to return the favor. That's great. Kenji is just a piece of shit villain. He is the one example where it's like, no, he's not like in terms of Victor, like with Victor, we mentioned Victor. He's not like he's not doing what he's doing because of how he was brought up. He's just genuinely a psycho and just power hungry, and I like that, you know. So,
yeah,
like he killed their mother to best Saya, which is insane. Like,
well, the thing too is, like, Kenji's on top of the pyramid, so he doesn't have to be. Well, he doesn't have people making choices for him. He's choosing to be evil.
He's choosing to be evil, and also I forgot to mention this too, but he was talking about that other Kuroki boss that was having that drink with him at the club. He also asked him what do you want to do now? Like now that you're at the top of the ladder, he's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna stop at Tokyo. I'm not gonna just take Japan, and also like the world. Like he won't.
The world was like actually crazy to say. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I thought this issue was really good, and just Saya and just more Kenji and Saya stuff I think was really interesting. But seeing where Saya is gonna go from here was like the best part after this, because now she got her comeuppance, and now she's heading back to San Francisco to help her friends. I think it's awesome. So yeah, love it. Any other thoughts on 37 from 138?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
So moving on to issue number 38. Thoughts on the cover real quick. I love this cover. I think it's probably my favorite, actually.
It's a great one. The gates to Hell's Dominion might as well be the gates to Hell.
Bro, that's actually a good analogy to make, actually.
Yeah, I like that. I like this cover. I don't like it as much as the other covers, though.
Yeah, like it's just.
The side I think was my favorite.
I think just because what that metaphor that Demoan just made me love this even more now. Fuck yeah, I love like when I saw this shit, I was like thinking like that Eminem song. Guess who's back again? Shady's back. Tell a friend. I was like, let's go. I like that. That was really cool. But yeah, great cover. We'll just move on to the actual issue now. Well, this issue starts off with I don't know about y'all, but like Rebecca would know because we watched the show together. But I want to think that this is the Poison's teacher because I was just envisioning him when I was reading this page. I don't know about you, but this issue starts off with a class going on. They're talking about the use of chemical weapons in World War I and the fact that which again as a World War buff, I love the fact that he's talking about how involving chemical weapons, how mustard gas kind of changed the game in terms of like warfare to the point where it became, outlawed because it was so dangerous. I like that a lot.
I hope your mentions about it.
Yeah, but I remember, while this is happening at Classmate, he talks about how the casualties of mustard gas, how it would blister the skin, cause your eyes to water, and it would cause your genitals to get hives and it mess up your organs. And the Classmate talks about how I know that smell. I know I stand in front of something that would mess up my organs every day. And it turns out he turns around and is the person turns around, slaps him in the face, and it's revealed to be Shabnam. And then Shabnam gets super defensive because after last time we saw Shabnam, Marcus disfigured him with I think Marcus or Petra disfigured him with freaking acid. And he pretty much talks about how he goes on a tirade and just talks massive amounts of shit and refers to this guy as it refers to him as a Gandhi looking motherfucker, and I was like, Jesus Christ, he
threatens the teacher even, which is crazy.
Yeah, he literally goes he's like mustard gas is in your mother's perfume bottle, sprays it all over her face and tits. I emerged from the closet, hold that low rent whore down and take pictures of her blistering genitals while she dies. You like that joke, you Gandhi looking motherfucker? And it's like, Jesus. And even it's so out of nowhere. It's so out of pocket to more even the teacher's like, yo, Shabnam, I don't want you threatening classes in my classroom. And he's like, yo, listen, if you want me to explain to you what you and Mr. Nelson do in between 4th and 5th period, you will let me do what the fuck I want. I was like, damn.
Man has an information network.
Again, Shabnam is that snake where it's like this man has the dirt on everybody because everyone sees him as weak, but he's watching all the time. I love that so much. While this is happening, a student comes out of nowhere, barges into the door, and it's like, guys, you will not believe this shit. And everyone's like, and then it cuts to these classmates walking around, and surrounded in class, and they're just like, holy shit, this is crazy. Shabnam pushes him out the way, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And what's so damn exciting? And then we get the reveal that this is what Marcus and Maria's plan was, is that they're back in Kings again. And they're just like, everyone's like, oh shit, because they were told by everyone from what happened during the final exam that that Maria was taken by the cartel, never to be seen again, and that Marcus was killed by Saya. So it's just like the fact that they're back, they're like, holy shit. Ooh, let's go. It's a great moment. I don't know what your thoughts on this moment real quick.
Oh. It's a triumphant return for sure. I love them both walking, and they have the one guard following them behind.
And this to make matters worse, Marcus comes up, passing by Shabnam, and was like, "Oh, look, long time no see, Shab." It's like, looking good, buddy. He referred to his fucking face. It's just like, Jesus. But yeah, you see little montages of Victor, Shabnam, Brandy. They're pissed. We see.
I mean, half these people already knew from when they tried to kill him last volume.
That's true. Half of them knew, but they didn't expect him to come back, which is the game changer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also we also get to see Zanzelli, Tashawi, and Helmet's reaction to them coming back from Kings briefly. So now that they're back in Kings, guess who they have to face? Guess who they have to face to explain what the hell happened? And they have to confront, to see for them to confront the reason why they came back. They have to confront Master Lin on what the hell happened. And we all know Master Lin in his book. Master Lin doesn't like shit like this because he ends up murdering people. He ends up killing them, people that end up messing things up, causing a fuss like this, right? So Master Lin comes through. They end up in Master Lin's office. They sit down, and they pretty much have to explain to Master Lin why they have the balls to come back in the first place after all this shit they stirred up, right? So, and pretty much Master Lin pretty much interrogates them, asks them a bunch of questions. He pretty much calls out Marcus and was like, why the hell you even returned anyway? And he's like, oh, to finish our training. He's like, to what end? And and Marcus pretty much tells him straight up, we don't want to be on the run anymore. It's like, we don't want to. He puts it in a way where it's like, it's better to be inside pissing out than outside pissing in. And he's like, no heart for revenge. He's like, and Maria mentioned that she killed Chico, and also the fact that she killed Chico, and it makes sense why you had no choice to hand me back to the cartel because he's a legacy, and also the fact that Marcus also mentions like, hey, like Lin mentions to Marcus, hey, the fact that you're alive means that Syfy failed me and cheated me, and it's like, are you concerned with betraying her sacrifice for you? And she's just like, listen, Syfy let my friends die. It's like she should have never have. He's like, she should know that I would have never have even forgiven her in the first place, which is an interesting point to make. And then he asks about, okay, so that means that Saya is taken in by the Kuroki. That means that means she's probably dead. Well, you probably knew that already, due to her feelings for you. Who killed Lex and the Holy Ghost, which was Chico's brother? Who killed Master Zane? And Marcus is like, I didn't even know he was dead, which we know was a lie because Marcus killed him by accident trying to get to Victor right before the final exam happened. So he's like, okay, so the Sotovato stronghold in Nevada being raided and eviscerated, was that your doing? He's like, yeah, with Marcus's help, says Maria. And Maria pretty much, and Lin goes through his drawer, takes out a little, like, I don't know if it's like an amulet or like a brooch, something like that, but it belonged to El Alma del Diablo, and he pretty much, okay, this belongs to you then. And now that this is pretty much El Alma Diablo's adopted daughter, that means the entire and the rest of his family is dead, including his next in line. Means that you're next in line to run Sotovato now. And then and he's like, even though I killed them all, he's like, yeah, especially since you killed them all. And then he moves on to talking about what are your thoughts on the death of Willie? And he's like, Marcus pretty much says that Willie ignored the realities of the world that he was in, and he put himself in danger. It's like if Victor hadn't killed him, someone would have killed him eventually. And yeah, and then pretty much Lin's like, okay, congratulations, guys, you passed the test. Now from this day forward, it's like, hey, since the final exam, Marcus is officially a legacy now, and he's pretty much entitled to all the protections and the privileges that come with that title. Welcome home. And pretty much it transitions to now Lin getting him back to speed, and it's like, okay, now since you missed half of your sophomore year, it's like all of your, and pretty much, but he's like, it's like all of your exploits and all that stuff, due to all of your exploits that have happened to you thus far. Is like, but here's the thing though, instead of you trying to holding you guys back a year, or having guys behind to catch up, I'm gonna just have those credits transfer over to you, so that due to your quote unquote life experience, and and now due to all your life experience, you're getting valedictorian status. So now you're gonna be pretty much neck and neck with Brandy, Victor, and Shabnam, and is like, and given that both of you have survived. You're going to be having.
Notice the troll's not there on that list.
She's not. And now that you both survived, and I'm adding you to that list, you guys are going to be pretty much be having targets on your back during the second stage of testing at King's. And now they're going to be given now that they're back, they're going to be given new roommates. Maria is going to be joining with a man known as a man who's a part of the Jersey Kings, known as Stefano, while Marcus is being is going to be joining with an Australian student named Sam, who Sam tries to introduce himself to Marcus, but Marcus pretty much tries to clear that he's not in the business of making friends right now due to his previous history.
Even snubs just a simple handshake.
And while this is happening, while they're getting their dorm assignments, Marcus makes a note the fact that like Lynn's probably testing Marcus because Marcus, due to the fact that he's rooming Maria with a man, and see if he gets jealous or not through their relationship, and also the fact that Marcus he's joining Marcus with Sam because Sam is in Willie's old room, and we'll see how he's going to handle that emotionally. So again, Lynn knows what he's doing. He's scheming. There's agendas being played here. He's always testing them.
He's
so I love that a
4D
lot.
chess.
He's playing chess with his students all the time. But yeah, it pretty much transitions to Mom Marcus is back in Kings, and obviously, and he talks about how all the stuff with Master Zane and all that stuff, and what's going on with that, but also the fact that him and Maria confronting Lynn was a part of the plan, because obviously his answers were very cynical and very not I would say a little out of character, especially when he refers to his thoughts on Saya and Willie and all that stuff. But yeah, it's pretty much a front for just to enact their plan. But yeah, the fact that he pretty much was walking through class, talks about how everybody is paying attention to them, they're admiring them, they're pretty much on the top of the food chain, not in terms of status, but in terms of popularity as well. Everyone's talking to them, everyone wants to be friends with them, and now that this place is starting to quote unquote feel a little bit like home. But also the fact that now, because Maria is took out El Diablo and his wife and all that stuff, and the fact that her El Diablo's brother, her quote unquote uncle, appreciated taking all that stuff, taking out his family, that he could become the leader of Saltavato. Therefore, their Saltavato status is back up, and also they're pretty much going to be protected throughout Kings via Saltavato and all that other stuff. And while that is happening, he decides to talk to Denzele and Helmet and Tashawi to see what's going on. But pretty much Helmet immediately pushes Marcus out of the way and tells him to fuck off, and the fact that they don't want any part of what they're cooking up, what they're scheming. And then at this moment, Marcus is opening up his locker to find a bunch of love letters, and then we get introduced to the character of Jayla, who said she shouldn't be surprised because the fact that you got through the final exam, it makes you super popular and makes everyone try to be with you. But also she gets a little flirty, and it goes up to him as and plus you got that hella cute scar on your face. It makes that baby face extra special. Introduces himself as Jayla, and then she frequently says, while she's literally getting really really close to Marcus, is tell Maria I'm the bitch she shouldn't leave you alone with. And he's just yeah, I'll get right on that. So, hey, listen, man. Marcus likes black girls. Well, we're saying that right now.
They're all coming for him.
They're all coming for him. Well, while this interaction with Jada happens, he gets turned around to see now these guys from the First World Order show up, and they're pretty much he's expecting a fight, but they pretty much welcome him back with arms, and they pretty much invite him to a party tonight, and yeah, so then we get to some more stuff about Marcus coming back to Kings and blah 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 yada yada yada. It goes all the way up to lunchtime, where everyone wants Marcus to sit with him, but he obviously doesn't want to because he hates being popular and doesn't like the attention the constant attention. So he goes to where he feels most comfortable, which is eating outside at the graveyard. And while he's smoking a blunt, while he's smoking a cigarette, a hand passes. A hand is a hand passes a joint to him, and it's the ghosts of all his friends, all of his dead friends that have passed. So obviously Willie, Lex, Petra, and Saya, and pretty much it's just like, hey, like,
And Billy.
Yeah, and Billy as well. Sorry. And they're pretty much just like, hey, like, why the fuck? The fact that you come back doesn't make any sense. And they're just pretty much it's the Jiminy Crickets in his head being like, yeah, why the fuck are you back? And I love the fact that Ghost Billy is pretty much telling me that it's good to see. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, like, visiting our graves and all that stuff. But just do yourself a favor and run. And Maria ends up meeting up with Marcus, talking about, why her boyfriend is talking to himself at the graveyard. They shouldn't be there. And obviously Shabnam and his crew confront them all, and it's like, yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. And pretty much they confront them about, hey, like, they should pretty much tell them to fuck off, and they shouldn't be here. The fact they should stay out of their way because, now they're sharing spots with them in terms of valedictorian and all that stuff. Excuse me. And and the fact that, like he talks about how Brandy and all that, how Brandy decided to come back to Kings after killing Petra, and the fact that Lynn acts like Lynn knows about it, and then he pretty much talks about, and then what's her name? Troll, I forget her name. Confronts Maria and is like, oh, you want to talk about secrets? Yeah, Marcus pretty much was having sex with me like weeks after you went missing when I was still fat. Maria gets so pissed off that she smashed her on the ground. Shabnam, he's like, oh no, my troll girlfriend. And he pretty much is telling Marcus, hey, you signed your own death warrant. And he's like, yeah, maybe, but or maybe not. He's like, just have to wait to see what secret that we've got in store for you. And the issue ends with Marcus and Maria walking off, all badass like, while at a far distance, Jayla is watching everything unfold, and that's how issue 38 ends. So that's on issue 38.
I like this issue. One of the things I think is really interesting is, as always, Master Lin's kind of setting them up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's interesting to think about, does he care whether they're just pretending to follow the rules, or if it doesn't matter if they're just pretending as long as they're following them? Because he knows something's going on. Like we were saying, like, yeah. He's ahead of them. He knows what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that is the thing. Is the question is like, okay, them going back to Kings, does Lin believe them entirely, or
absolutely not?
Or does he expect them to have something up their sleeve? Yeah, I don't know.
I think Lin's too old to believe anyone entirely.
That is true.
As an assassin.
I feel like that's Lin. Lin doesn't trust anybody.
It also makes me wonder, though, does he, like, ultimately, does he want them to break away from the rules, or does he want them to fall in line?
That is also a good question.
That is. Because on one hand, you still want them connected to Kings, but also you're trying to train them to be effective crime lords?
True.
So there's got to be some autonomy they have.
Because...
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one. I just think it's something to think about.
No, it definitely is.
I do think that Lin still does see potential in Marcus, being an actual, like, effective, like, assassin in the world. You know what I mean? Like, an effective change in the world. But, like, it's if he can mold him to... If he can, mold him to fit his own agenda or not. Not like... Make sure the flowers have room to grow, but don't let them turn into weeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what else? What other thoughts on this issue? On this issue.
I mean, I enjoyed their triumphant return.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's nice to see now roles reversed with Marcus, where Marcus is now at the top of the food chain instead of at the bottom of the totem pole. I like that.
Oh yeah, he hates it. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah, but at the same time, where it's like now everyone's starting to like give him all this attention due to their new reputation that they gained after coming back from the dead. Killing surviving the final exam, killing a bunch of yakuza, and also the cartel and all that stuff. But it's just like, how much you want to bet that like are these students actually genuinely like admiring them, or they're just they also got agendas to they're it's also a facade and they're actually like trying to use them for their own personal gain.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, new characters. Are there 10 volumes or 12 in this?
12.
12. I feel like I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, we have enough new characters. I don't really need more. I think Jayla's fine. Sam, I don't really care about him, at least at this point. I thought he was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I think that's the vibe you're supposed to get from him, though.
Yeah, like he just
Sam is a roommate, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I got the right.
Yeah, like Sam is just there to just be there. Stefano is just there to just like it's just there. Like Stefano and Sam are just there. Jayla, it seems like she might be able to stir the pot a little bit because obviously she's like coming on to Marcus.
She's the most interesting of the three, and I like where they're going with her.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones I could do without.
Yeah, true. But overall, yeah, this issue, I thought it was good. It was great. I again, don't call it a comeback, people. I love it. It's such a good return to them and Kings, and to see what Marcus and Maria are scheming, because we all know they're there for a reason. They're not. They didn't want to come back to finish their training. They couldn't give a fuck about their training. You know what I mean? But yeah, who wants to move? I want to move on to the last issue.
Yes, we do.
All right, so talking about issue number 39. Demoan, you got that?
Yep. So issue number 39. I like this cover. I still say the Saya tattoo one is my favorite, but I love Shabnan and dripping blood on his food because all this ugly man knows how to do is eat sloppy.
Yep.
I don't know if I like how you said that, but
sorry. Yeah, I could have phrased it better, couldn't I?
It's kind of like I do like the fact that like it's kind of a double meaning where it's like no, like, this man's like out for blood, and and again it's like showcasing more like the darker side of Shabnam.
Right, like because that's like a big steak knife that he has.
Yeah,
big steak.
And like
the big steak. You're
like
right.
Like the sauce or like the juices from the steak supposed to like represent like blood. Like I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it definitely tells you that what he's out for. And especially even like when you look behind him, like there's a huge distance between him and the next student besides these two guards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's showing how he's putting himself far above everyone else, separating himself. But yeah, I like this cover. Not my favorite one in this volume, but I still like it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Any thoughts?
What? No, I'm good. I said what I was going to say.
Makes sense. Just wanted to double check. Okay, then. So we're ready to start the issue then. So this issue, I think, gets to a strong start because we haven't been back at Kings in a while, so we haven't got to see characters like Shabnan or Steven, or even Grogda. But this issue starts out with Steven beating up two homophobes that are attacking two gay men. And it's real cool how he comes up because he pulls up on his motorcycle fast as they're running at the gays, and he pulls out like nunchucks, and then he just starts whacking these dudes.
Wait, can you read the quote he says real quick?
It's the best thing. Okay, I will read it. Cause I love it.
You're gonna
this needs to be on a shirt.
Hey, give me your action hero voice for this, Mike.
What happened?
Give me your action hero voice for this one.
Oh, it's like
from the top.
You want me to read the whole thing or just that one bubble?
No, just the one-liner.
Yeah, it's just like he's like I'm like gay Batman, so pretty much just Batman. It's just like yes, put that on a shirt, dude. It's so funny.
Honestly, I would get this whole scene on a shirt if we're being honest.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like I love subtle like nods to like people thinking that Batman and Robin were just like dealing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean subtle?
But But he just beats the crap out of these homophobes. He even goes on to say, like, he gives them fun facts, which I think is nice. Like, he says Leonardo da Vinci was gay. But then he does go on to make it philosophical, and he wonders why God hates us, even though his best stuff is gay. And these are where the two civilian queers, I guess, step in and tell him to stop because they don't want the homophobes on their hands dead. But of course, Steven's like, if I let them go, then they're just going to kill someone else, and that's on my hands. But then he has the black guy tells him, don't kill them and say it's for us. You're working on something. Work on it. Don't just murder people. And then Steven has a breakdown, just kind of drives back off on his motorcycle, leaving these two men beaten and bruised, and these two gay men, I guess, to go about the rest of their night if they still want to.
He gets a flashback of him murdering his
lover, the CIA.
He really murdered him just to make sure that he got legacy status, which is kind of wild. But Kendall, I remember, Kendall. But yeah, it's a cool scene.
It was a fun one. But then we do cut back to King's Dominion, and we see that Brandy is skating into, I guess we'll just call it Shabnan's office. I don't know exactly what room they're using, but I'm just going to call it his office.
Continue, sorry.
Oh, no, okay, sorry. But anyway, she comes in and says, Marcus is getting everyone all uppity. He's popular. People aren't as afraid of us as they used to be. He's like, and Shabnan is, popularity is temporary, it's an illusion, and it'll fade eventually. It'll swing back to us. All we have to do is not something stupid. And Brandy brings up that, hey, well, let's move the pendulum faster. And at this point, she sits on the bench and inches her way closer to Shabnan. And they're talking, and Shabnan's like, what are you proposing? And at this point, Brandy's just talking shit. She's saying how Grog doesn't respect him, how he's in charge of stuff, really stroking his ego. Of course, she very quickly moves into something else.
Yeah, I was waiting to see the transition you would do on that one.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, she moves very close, and she does start touching little Shabnan. But right as everyone else was coming in the room, that means Victor, Steven, the troll, all of them in the room, and for some reason, she's not stopping what she's doing. But they're all in the room. They had a meeting. Apparently, Shabnan and Brandy are early, but Brandy assures them that no one is premature here. To which I don't think anyone catches on yet. But they go on still about the meeting, talking about Marcus and Maria. Victor's talking about how he can't get to them. They don't trust him. Marcus is like a rat, hard to squish, very small. But they do all come up with a plan to get rid of Marcus. And that plan involves Brandy and Steven working together. Steven going undercover a little bit, and then Brandy just doing it from the outside. At this point, Brandy kind of takes over the conversation and says how she wants more credit because she's doing so much work. And so they agree to give it to her by letting her kill Marcus. At this point, she also... she finishes what she was doing with Shabnan. And...
Mikey, that's the panel. All the innuendos in this section.
Oh man, it's so funny. You should. I don't know where you should. Okay, this context off camera. I didn't know. I told him before. I didn't realize this was happening until after the fact. So I literally was like, "Why did Shabnan just scream out of nowhere for no reason?" And then I realized, oh wait, okay.
Oh, he's gotta control himself. But anyway, Shabnan tells him that he wants everyone to start the plan today. They're gonna make it look like it was self-defense because Master Lin is gonna believe that they came back to King's Dominion for revenge. So they were like, it's a story that writes itself. We then cut back to Marcus in his room with his new roommate. His roommate's just kind of droning on and on about his life, how his mom was someone who got rid of bodies and he's at King's Dominion because she's in some shit. But it's really all just noise, while Marcus thinks about how he was kind of mean to Maria about getting her to come back to King's Dominion, how he yelled at her even, but she didn't yell back, which she thought was the worst part. She just called him cruel and walked off. And he's talking about how he's stressed out, but again, in the background, it's just this man droning on, and eventually, in the middle of Sam's talking, Marcus leaves. And Sam's like, good talk, mate. Because, talking to himself. So after he leaves, we get a picture of Zenzele. Got the name right this time.
Yay.
Zenzele on the phone talking to someone we don't know who yet. But we do see her watching Marcus and Maria kissing in the hallway. We then cut to a class where they talk about Mao Zedong and why he was so popular, even though he was in charge of a lot of mass executions, starvation, and labor camps. And Marcus says it's because he rose China up to be like a superpower in the world, and people focus on that, like those optics were good. And because that's what they saw as good, that's what they focused on.
I didn't realize that. Looking at the photo, I was like, I didn't realize he was talking about Mao Zedong. I thought he was talking about a song like the first dictator of North Korea. But I thought he was talking about it first, but I was like, oh wait, no, there's another guy that did the same thing. Okay.
Yep, Mao Zedong. Yeah. But anyway, Marcus gets points for that. And this is just showing, hey, optics are everything. They're really trying to force that, especially right now, as, so many people are acting in ways that, aren't directly related to their goal, I guess. Or, underhanded ways to get to their goal, rather. Not showing their real hand.
Yeah.
But then we cut to the cafeteria where everyone's inviting Marcus to join them for their gangs and stuff. A bunch of people just want Marcus and Maria in their lives because of the prestige. But Marcus hates it. He doesn't want anything to do with it. Of course, just more noise in the background for him. He's been listening to a lot of noise ever since he got back to King's Dominion. And I think it's overloading him a bit. Because when Zenzele comes up and invites them both to Mass, honestly, unsurprisingly, he says no. He doesn't want to go to Mass, which I don't think anyone didn't see coming.
Well, I think we also have to mention, too, it's a Christmas Mass. This is
Right.
our Christmas issue.
It is our Christmas issue. Oh. But yes, this is our Christmas issue, and both him and Maria are invited to Christmas Mass. Marcus wants no part of it. He just doesn't do Mass. Maria's it's not about the religion, it's about the family and the community. She said she even doesn't care about, at least his view on Jesus. And Zenzele is we just, there's the real truth, the real Jesus. You gotta face him. I'm sorry, Marcus was saying this, you gotta face the real Jesus was a time traveler. And he's throwing up some nonsense, or strange theory about how Jesus came back in time, set himself up to be a king sometime in the future, essentially. And Maria's I'm not having this. It's Christmas. You can be depressed all you want, but you do it alone if you're going to be depressed. And at that point, Marcus watches Maria walk off with Zenzele, holding on to Zenzele's arm. At this point, Steven comes over and he's like, hey, public fights are never fun. What was this one about? And behind this, we see Brandy is coming up to, finish her work on our old friend Marcus, we should say. She has her signature cheerleader pom-pom knives. And as she's coming up to stab Marcus in the back, Steven gets up and whacks her, knocking her over, saving Marcus. Of course, Marcus is like, what the shit? Nobody touch her. If Shabman wants to come after me, he can do it himself. At that point, like, people start storming out, running away. The troll yells at Shabnan, saying, "You shouldn't have let that racist bitch into our group." Now order her to stab Marcus, and she's just yelling at Shabnan at the point that she's even throwing stuff. That everyone's even throwing stuff at him. But she storms out. More people throw stuff at Shabnan, and Marcus kind of picks Brandy up, and Brandy and Steven get taken away to the hole, both the hole. And in the background, we see that Helmut and Tasawe are watching this all happen. Tasawe asks what happens, and Helmut just tells him, "Stupid drama people."
Yeah. I also want to add something real quick. When Marcus grabs Brandy, he whispers to her and is like, "Yeah, you missed your shot, but now you get to wait for my shot." And I'm just like, okay.
He's gunning for people, and I respect this about him right now. It's the first decision he's ever made, and he's trying his best to own it. But anyway, after the whole cafeteria scene, we get Marcus walking away, saying how no one's really his friend. His journal is full of like heart-strict complaining. He's not really seeking happiness. Just everything's going poorly for him, essentially. He just wants to just sit and do nothing, just watch the world pass by. But while he's walking away, Jayla comes up to him and starts talking to him about how there's a party coming. And that he's invited, First World Order is having a party, and that he should show up. He says he's emotionally unavailable. She calls him emotionally unavailable and invites him over still. He says, "Well, I guess I'll come up. I have nothing in the cards right now." And so they make plans to see each other at the party later that night. After that, we cut back to Helmut and Tasawe, and we see them having this conversation about how Helmut's gearing up to take out the cult. Well, the death cult that killed Petra's mother. Because they want to kill the dad specifically.
Yeah,
they want to take out the dad, who's the leader of the death cult right now. So you see Helmut has this axe in his bag. He's ready to leave and go somewhere. And Tasawe says, "If you want help, I can help." And he's like, "Yeah, we're friends, but we're not, maybe we'll die together tonight, friends." And Tasawe's like, "Well, if I come, maybe we can be." And I really love this for Tasawe because it's so much growth for him. Like, he was so angry and didn't want to make friends with anyone at first, but he kept sticking around, and now he's ready to die with somebody.
Yeah. It kind of shows when you get, like, you know, when all of you and your friends get, like, you know, ambushed by the Yakuza and survive. Yeah, you kind of end up caring about them.
Mm-hmm. It's called trauma bonding.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
Yeah, I guess being almost killed by the Yakuza would bond you for a while, wouldn't it? But anyway, we cut back after they have their conversation about how they're going to be friends in life and death. We cut to Chinatown, where Zenzele and Maria are walking. They're talking about all sorts of things, about how Satan lives in them, and how they both just want clarity and feel corrupted. They feel like they need to ask forgiveness, but they're not sure they really deserve it. And it all comes down to like how that they want to dispel the evil from their heart. And Maria eventually gets to the point of like, how do you do that? And Zenzele gives her I would describe it as a bit of a longing look, and says, "I'm open to suggestions." And then at that point, they break eye contact, and Maria then re-embraces Zenzele by grabbing onto her arm, and they make contact with their skin, because they, at the bottom of the page, they very specifically show the both of them kind of holding hands as Maria grabs onto Zenzele.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But they're talking about but as she's doing this, they're talking about the types of forgiveness you can have. You can earn some of it by just doing stuff the right way. Some of it you just ask for, but all of it is based on like an angel sent to help Zenzele with redemption. And Maria says, well, at the very least, I'll be a friend in your corner, no matter what. So it seems like the two of them are working through something together.
That's true. Yeah, they're building a friendship.
And we'll see what this means for Marcus and Maria moving forward. But we do then cut to the First World Order party, and it's Marcus kicking ass at dominoes. He's winning. He's asking for the joint. Jayla comes over and says, "Hey, I got something to show you." So Jayla brings Marcus over to a room. Marcus is like, "Hey, I'm cool. I know a bunch of these guys from way back, First World Order." And Jayla says, "Oh, really? How do you know all the First World Order guys?" At this point, Marcus reveals to her that his best friend was First World Order, FWO. At this point, Jayla's getting a gun, and right before she can pull it on Marcus, Marcus turns around and pulls a gun on her. He explains, "Hey, your brother was my best friend."
Then you're just like, "Brother, what?"
Yeah, he just knows this, which I guess he probably got from like Sotos Vasos information after coming back, but like it's still really impressive that he could figure it out. But anyway, she blames him for getting Willie killed. He says, "I didn't get Willie killed." And then it's a long story, he says, so he doesn't explain it to them yet. But he does tell her that I have plans. And I know for a fact Willie would hate the plans I have, but you might like them. And while he's saying this, he's putting down the gun as a show of peace. And she's just staring dumbfounded. And that's where they cut the scene, right when he tells her, "Hey, well, listen to what I have planned," essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, finally, the last little couple pages of this issue, we get Zenzele and Maria walking up the stairs, and at this point, Zenzele says, "I gotta come clean. We're not going to mass." There's another reason why we came to this church, and as she says that, she opens the door, and Maria and Saya lock eyes. They both are holding a weapon. Well, actually, if we're being honest, I think Maria goes to grab hers, but then she sees it's Saya, and even though she does whip the fan, they run at each other, they drop the weapons, and they embrace in a hug. And that's where this issue ends, with this hug scene. Beneath this stained glass window that they're in. Or in the church, beneath the stained glass window.
Rebecca, you want to go first?
Sure. I like this issue. I think it's probably my favorite in the volume. I like the relationship that's developing between Maria and Zenzele. I like their reunion with Saya at the end. I also like the twist with Jayla being Willie's sister.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the attempted assassination with Brandy and Marcus and Steven switching sides is cool. I don't know exactly what that means yet, though.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he'll join the gang in some way, but I don't know, again, like we keep saying, if that's like a long game or what his real plan is.
Mm-hmm. I know Steven's getting close to Marcus in a plan to kill him for some reason, but I don't know if this is part of the plan or if just the cafeteria attack was the plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also agree with Rebecca. Like this might be my second favorite issue. Love the stuff I love Steven being gay Batman. That's just awesome. Like it's just it's cool stuff. There, love now the fact that like Shabnam's like like alliance is kind of falling apart a little bit. And the fact not really his alliance is falling apart kind of slowly, but also the fact that his reputation now that Marcus is being back is pretty much dwindling. Due to the fact that he tried to take a shot at Marcus and couldn't do it himself, he's lost some respect. There,
got trash thrown at him.
he only got food thrown at him, which is wild. Love again. The friendship that is happening between Denzel and Maria. It's kind of, again, I thought it was at first replacing the relationship that Denzel and Syfy were having, they were building up, but then obviously that's not the case. The fact that with the reveal that Syfy is back now with Zenzelli's help, and the fact that the friendship between all three of them is pretty solid. So I thought that reunion at the end was very touching and very sweet, because I really thought that the last time we saw Syfy and Maria together, they were trying to kill each other. So it's just the fact that they kind of switched it and be like, oh no, after all this shit, they just want to be friends again. I thought that was so sweet and just so touching.
Yeah.
Most importantly, though, the stuff with now with Jayla again, I love that. I thought that twist with her being Willie's sister was great. And I want to actually put y'all on game real quick. I want to ask real quick: do you think do you think that now Jayla being Willie's sister, being able to be Willie's sister, do you think Jayla knew the truth about what happened with Willie, about how he got his rep in the first place?
This that she knows that Victor was the one who killed him, right?
Yeah. No,
but she specifically blames Marcus for getting him out in the open.
Oh yeah, I know that for a fact. But I'm just saying, do you think that Jayla knows the truth about how Willie got his rep in the first place? The fact that he killed their father by mistake. Do you think she knew that? Do you think she knew? Do you think that she knew? She knew? You don't know?
I think Willie tried to take that one. He tried to take that one to the grave, I think.
I gotcha. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a scene in the future book where it's that same scene again, but then she's looking through a doorway or something. But that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I feel we don't really know the relationship that. Well, obviously, if knowing that she was willing to get revenge to kill Marcus, over Willie's death, I wouldn't be surprised if she did know. I feel like his little sister would be the only person that Willie would trust with that secret. Other than obviously Marcus, now because Marcus was his best friend. But
since this is the first we know of her, though, we really can't say anything about the relationship.
That's true. But yeah, no, I also like the fact that we see Marcus now within the FWO. I was a little disappointed the fact that they were playing dominoes and not spades. I was like, come on, you're in Oakland. You're in a party in the Bay with a bunch of black people. You're not playing spades. That's wild. But it's just, but yeah, I'm very interested to see how this alliance between Jayla and Marcus begins, because again, she revealed, Willie was my best friend. I loved Willie, so that mutual relationship between, that mutual love for Willie's is interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna go forward with how she gets involved in Marcus's plan to take down Kings. I think that's what I'm really looking forward to going forward, along with all the other stuff. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. This issue was pretty good.
I think so too.
But yeah, is that it? Is that what we're gonna say on this issue?
Yeah. Do we want to touch on issue 40 at all, or do we want to save that, or what are we gonna do?
What?
The comic book day issue?
Yeah, I mean, Demoan, you can touch on it if you want. I made a banner for it. So yeah.
Okay. If you got this in trades, then this came with more than the standard 4 issues that usually come in the trades. This one also came with the free comic book day issue from the year that this came out.
I don't know when this came out. Crap.
You know what? While Mikey's figuring that out, I'll give a brief description. But anyway, it just opens up. They're asking more about assassins and killers, who they were, who was the target, who was the killer. And they're giving off a bunch of stuff. Victor specifically gives off Rasputin and says the Baba Yaga killed him, which I thought was great. But most other ones are just real life things. But it's this whole story about how it's the first week of Marcus at King's Dominion. How after he found his little group of people, how they went out to they specifically went to see a Fishbones concert, and for some reason Victor showed up there. He told them he's there to see the show, but Victor would never watch art, and we know this. But it's a whole conversation they're having in this back alley, getting ready to smoking before the show. Maria's talking about how like they have a student counselor at King's Dominion, and she didn't want to be an assassin; she wanted to be a dancer. But apparently, people didn't understand that she wanted to be a dancer. Marcus absolutely did not respect that she wanted to be a dancer. He said it was stupid, essentially. And she's like, well, you can change the world with art, and dancing is art. And they're just going back and smoking. And Victor's like, I don't want any of your weed, but eventually he comes back and he takes a hit after he sees this man through a chain link fence. He takes a hit, then gets rid of their whole joint, just that they're still smoking, throws it on the ground. Party foul is what I'd say. And then we get this scene of just the kids dancing in the venue. It goes on for like 2 or 3 pages. Nothing really important is happening. They're just saying lyrics. Willie and Maria have a conversation. Willie talks about how like this isn't his scene, but like there's a lot of emotion in this room, and he respects that. And then we get another flashback to Victor at King's Dominion being told that, hey, you have to go kill some people. They killed your mother. There's going to be revenge for you. Mr. Lin gives him that assignment. So we get this whole fight scene of Victor fighting these 2 crooks. Eventually, he kills them. He shoots both of them. One of them falls on top of him, and then the leader is a man at the desk, and he tries to get an assault rifle while Victor is buried beneath 2 men. Victor luckily gets a shot off at him and kills him. But then he just kind of stays there half dead after having just killed 3 people. And we get another flashback of Master Lin saying the most important part of her assignment is reporting how you felt. And then we get this cutaway of everyone coming out of the concert at the same time to Victor just standing there. And they see him holding a coin that he stole to prove that he had made the kill. Marcus walks up to him and offers him some platitudes because Victor looks upset, but Victor just kind of throws him off and says, hey, you offer unsolicited advice, you're an egoist, get the fuck away from me, and then he just storms off. And they're just talking about how he's an unhappy person. And then they cut back to right before they walked into King's Dominion. And then that's how the Free Comic Book issue ends. So I think it's supposed to be a little flashback, like the issue before they get to King's Dominion, is where it would be meant to be placed if it has like timeline.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's interesting. Yeah. No, because I didn't really read it because I was confused. I wasn't sure if it was like necessary reading or not. But
it didn't feel necessary, but like it just gave more background on their first week at King's Dominion.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just the first week of Kings with like a little hidden detail, like like here's something that may have happened that but between the panels. Know what I mean?
I mean, it feels like a Free Comic Book Day issue.
It definitely was. Yeah, there was also a Victor issue, which was fun.
Which is different because I was like, okay, no, it's a Victor focused issue. That's interesting. I looked it up. It came out in 2019.
2019. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That sounds right.
But no, it's interesting. I'll probably go back and read it for sure. But yeah, it's really cool. But yeah, guys. So what's it called? You want to go to final thoughts? So final thoughts on Volume 8, Never Go Back.
I think for me, this volume was a little bit hit or miss. Like I said, I think some points, especially early in that first issue, just felt a little redundant to me, which I know is also the nature of comic books.
Yeah.
But I also thought there was some good stuff in here too.
Demoan?
I think this is a nice. I don't want to say break from last issue, which was so action packed. But like we're now back to more of like setup than all the pieces finally falling into place. So I think we're definitely gearing. Like it's issue 8 of 12, so we're definitely gearing up for the end. But it feels like we're gearing up for the end.
That's true. Yeah, I thought this issue again, like we were back to like a little hit or miss. There are definitely strong moments in it. Again, like like Marcus tripping out and finding about more about who he is. Freaking them coming back to Kings, I think is the best part about it. Again, because we haven't been in Kings in a while, so the fact that we're back here and again with Marcus now with a new mindset, a new status, and now a plan that is which we don't know about, but the pieces are falling into place on what that's going to be. It's more setup. I think it's going to be really interesting. And again, it just feels like we're coming towards a little bit of like the end, a little bit. It's really good stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. And the fact that now everyone is again, Marcus and Maria are back. Syfy is now back. Now we have a new we have Helmets and Zenzele and Tashawi now ring reveal. Hey, yeah, they actually don't really hate Marcus and Maria. They're actually like they're still in cahoots. That's the key up for appearances. Jayla being introduced and seeing now how Willie's sister is going to be involved. Involved going forward with like this group. Shabnam's alliance and now his like his control over everything is now slowly cracking and crumbling now that the status quo has changed. I think it's really good stuff. I really like it a lot. But yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, man. I don't know about you, Demoan, but like while I was looking through the trade, I was looking through like the cover gallery. I'm gonna just shout out real quick just this one cover. It's the variant cover for issue 36, and now that I've seen it, I want it like the trade. But this cover right here, which is shit. Let me turn off the blurriness because I forgot I had that on. This one right here, the one on the left side. I didn't know this, but this was drawn by the late great Kim Jong-yi, who passed away like 2 years ago. Phenomenal artist. I want to find this and own it now because it's a beautiful cover. This of Maria, Syfy, and Marcus just like chilling at like a bodega or whatever, like it's sort of about like bodies. It's crazy. But yeah,
we're finishing up business.
I just want to shout that cover out real quick because I love Kim Jong-il's work, and I'm still hating that he's gone. So it's just damn. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Anyone else have any more final thoughts before we close out?
I'm good.
I'm good.
So all right, people. Well, thanks for everyone who are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Be able to comment, like, subscribe. Check out what are your thoughts on this volume. If you've read it, will you be reading it going forward? I'll put a link in the comment section below so you can buy it for yourself. And yeah, people say it feels like we're on episode 8 out of 12, so we have like a few more episodes to go. 4 more, so it's gonna be great. Be on the lookout for the next episode when that does happen, because again, I'm trying to own them all physically because I don't want to read them online because I love the series so much. But we'll see how it goes. But be on the lookout for next episode, and next episode is going to be volume number 9, which is going to be covering issues 40 to 44, and it's gonna be titled Bone Machine. And looking at this cover, looking at this thumbnail, things are gonna get intense. I don't know about y'all, but things are gonna be heating up a little bit. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. Again, check out all of our other content that we post on there. Check out, obviously, catch up with Deadly Class. Check out the Transformers stuff. Check out the Indie Corner After Darks, which again we want to do another one at some point soon because a lot of cool comic book pop culture has been coming out recently. So we want to do another episode on that at some point. Check out our off-panel interviews. Check out our Rodney Barnes interview that we did a few weeks ago, which me and Rebecca and Seamus did together. It was a lot of fun. Check out the clip for that as well. Check out all the highlights, all that stuff. Yeah, we really appreciate the support, and we're taking our time, but yeah, we're trying to get as much content to y'all as much as possible because y'all seem to like it so much, which is great. And yeah, as always, people, get home safe. Thanks for the support, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right, peace.
All right, get home safe.